You have probably heard about the man here in New York who allegedly kicked a stray cat hard and posted the video online. That triggered a debate over animal abuse and the U.S. justice system. His defenders say if he'd kicked a person, he'd have walked away with a plea bargain. But punishment for an animal abuser is often harsher, and some say disproportionate to the crime. Let's talk it over with CBS News analyst Rikki Klieman. Rikki, good morning.
Good morning.
It is fascinating how many people are weighing in on this case right now.
Well, it's unbelievable. The New York Times published a story, and then they published the fact that there were 1,600 comments overnight, 790 comments on the Facebook page. So this is the type of thing I can tell you from the old days when I used to anchor at Court TV. If we ever had a case involving abuse of an animal, the ratings went skyrocketing up. This is a case that makes people's blood boil.
What's interesting in this case is the man involved here in New York City has not even received a plea bargain offer, which is pretty unusual, isn't it?
I think it's extraordinarily unusual, and this is my guess, and it's only an educated guess based on my experience as a prosecutor, defense lawyer, and covering these cases. This case has generated so much commentary, plus you have animal rights activists who have come to his court dates. So my guess is probably that the government has said, look, we may have to give you some jail time. This guy does have a prior record, by the way, not involved with animal abuse, but he is not simply a first-time offender. And on the other side of it, his lawyer's saying, hey, wait a minute, this case is usually disposed of by a probation. Well, things have changed, not only here. We can go far and wide around the country and find out what's happened in other states and, by the way, with the FBI. The FBI has taken cases of animal abuse, elevated them to a felony. You have cases, Massachusetts has upped its animal cruelty punishment to 7 years. You have a case in Virginia where a man was sentenced to a full year. You have a case in Texas, a man was sentenced for 5 years for dragging a donkey. Not much different than kicking a cat. So the ante has gone up. And this is what I say to you and I say to our viewers. I think that punishment should fit the crime. If you kick a defenseless cat, a defenseless dog, something bad should happen to you. However, I also say we ought to have parity about if you kick a defenseless child or hurt a defenseless child, you kick a defenseless woman or an elderly person. Let's have some parity here.
But let's just talk about the punishment, because I think a lot of people remember Michael Vick. He got 10 years. Then you look at Ray Rice, who punched his then fiancée, and he was suspended for 2 games. So is there some sort of message in all of this when it comes to what the difference is between hurting a person and hurting an animal?
Well, I think that Michael Vick, when his case came about, that the country went wild. And the one thing about Michael Vick was people said, hey, look, Michael Vick was raised this way. They did animal fighting. Well, wait a minute. Adrian Peterson, who is now in trouble in the NFL for having beaten his child with a switch, a tree branch. Well, Adrian Peterson could also say, I was raised that way. Right. So we need parity. We need equality.
Rikki Klieman, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.